All right, everyone. So today I wanted to go over pretty much everything food related in Raid Shadow Legends. And I'm not talking about the food that you eat. I'm talking about the food that your champions are going to eat, or more specifically, ranking up. Now, I wanted to go over pretty much everything related to ranking up, as well as share with you guys some tips. But I will mention this at the beginning of the video. It's going to be mostly aimed more towards newer players. You might learn a couple of things as an intermediate player, but this is definitely something a lot of people have been asking me for a while, so I thought I would go through it today. Now, with that being said, let's jump right to it. Let's talk about the very bare basics first, and that is how many champions of a particular rank are you going to need in order to get to the next rank. Now, it might seem very confusing at first, but I'll tell you guys a very easy way in order to remember it. And here is the list. We've got 2 1-stars is going to give you a 2-star, 3 2-stars is going to give you a 3-star, 4 3-stars will give you a 4-star, 5 4-stars will give you a 5-star, and 6 5-stars will give you a 6-star. So just think about it this way. What champion rank am I trying to get to? Am I trying to rank up a 3-star to a 4-star? Well, then I am trying to get a 4-star, and I'm going to need 4 of the champion rank below that in order to get what I am looking for. Same with 6-stars. If I'm trying to get a 6-star, that means that I'm going to need 6 of the champion rank below that, which would be 5-star. I'm going to need 6 5-stars in order to get the 6-star that I am looking for. Really easy. You can also just screenshot this chart or look at it if you need help later on. But I will also mention this as well, very, very importantly, is you only actually need to level up one of the champions for each rank that you're trying to rank up. So, for example, the easiest one that we can look at is getting your 6-star. So if you are trying to get a 6-star, you technically need 6 5-stars in order to get a 6-star. However, one of those 5-stars is going to end up being the champion that you are ranking up to begin with. So as an example, let's just say that I want to end up taking this guy right here, Beardoll Fellhammer, to 6 stars and level 60. Probably wouldn't really recommend it. I haven't really looked at this guy in detail. I'm just using him as an example, but as you can see, this is the champion that I have ranked up to level 50. This is also going to be one of the champions that is going to be among the 6 champions that I need in order to get the 6-star. So you can see we have our 1 leveled up champion here, and then there are 5 more slots here for our food champions. Now these are going to be champions of the same rank, so these are also going to be 5-stars. However, we are going to be sacrificing those champions in order to end up getting a champion of the next rank. And the champion of the next rank that we are getting is going to be the main champion that we are using right here. So by sacrificing 5 food champions, a total of 6 champions are needed. We are going to rank up the main champion that we are using right here. Now, only one of these champions needs to be leveled up, and that is, of course, going to end up being your main champion, which would be Beardoll Fellhammer. And it's preferable that the other champions that you end up using, like these guys right here, those Incubus, which I have locked just for safety so I don't accidentally do something with them that I didn't want to, you want to actually have them be as close to low level as possible, because any extra levels that you have on the actual food champions that you use to rank up, they're just going to end up going to waste. Now, there's a little bit of a note that I'll add on to that as we get a little bit later into the video, a little strategy that you can end up using for some future events, but generally speaking, the actual food champions that you are sacrificing to rank up your main champion, you want to make sure those are as close to level 1 as possible, because those levels will just end up going to waste anyway. Now, chickens are a slightly newer addition to the game. They weren't around when I first started, but they have been around for at least a few months now, and chickens are just going to act as a level 1 champion of the rank that they are. So this 5-star chicken is just going to act like a 5-star champion that we can use as food. The only difference is, obviously, you can't use chickens as your main champion, because that just wouldn't really make any sense at all. So you can kind of see how chickens being food and then food champions, it all kind of ties together to make sense. All right, anyway, enough of that. So now that we've gone over the absolute bare basics, well, what are going to be some strategies, especially as a newer player, that you could use in order to optimize leveling up food? Well, there's really 2 big ones, and they are going to primarily involve mystery shards. Now, mystery shards are going to be very, very important in Raid Shadow Legends for a whole bunch of different reasons. Now, if you take a look at the actual types of champions you can get from them, You cannot get epic or legendary champions, but that is not why mystery shards are important. In fact, it's not even really the rares. That's a nice little bonus on top of what you're going to get from them, but that's not even the reason why they are important. The main reason is the extremely large amount of common and uncommon champions. As you can see, 74.2% chance for common, 24.4% chance for an uncommon, so roughly 3/4 of the time you'll get a common, 1/4 of the time you'll get an uncommon with a rare chance of getting a rare, just as an added little bonus. That's important because what you're going to use mystery shards for is you're going to use them in order to get low rarity, low star champions, and then you are going to start working on those, leveling them up and ranking them up so that you can end up ranking the real champions that you are actually going to be using in more difficult battles. So the first strategy, and this is the one that I would really recommend towards new players, people who have not been playing for very long, if you don't really have a lot of mystery shards to begin with, and that is going to be starting from the absolute bottom of the barrel, and that is actually leveling up your common champions and starting on working on those. Now, what you're going to do is you are going to go to whatever campaign stage you are on. I'm guessing a lot of people who are watching this and are interested are probably not going to be on the Brimstone Path Stage 3 or Stage 6 on Brutal difficulty. That's totally fine. If you are either on hard or you are on normal, that is okay. Just keep in mind that you want to eventually work on getting to a higher difficulty because you will be getting more experience per energy by doing the higher difficulties. Not only does it cost more energy, but the actual amount of experience per energy that you get is also going to be higher. More efficiency, always something that you should be striving for. So totally fine if you're still doing normal or hard, but eventually you definitely don't want to overfarm it. I believe that's a mistake that I ended up mentioning in a video from a while ago, is once you can end up moving up in terms of difficulty, you're going to want to get that extra efficiency when it comes to ranking up your food champions. So what you are going to do is whatever stage you are farming, you are going to be using your one main champion. You have 4 champion slots here, and you're going to be using one main champion as your campaign farmer. And this is what everybody says when they say campaign farmer. I believe I ended up making a video just recently talking about campaign farmers. That's going to be it right here. Now, Foley, not necessarily the best campaign farmer, but just as an example that you don't have to have an absolute designated campaign farmer in order to actually do the campaign. Relatively speaking, compared to high-level dungeons, even the Brutal campaign is generally pretty easy, so you don't have to have very specific champions. If you do, that's great. You can build them in order to farm the campaign really quickly, but most level 60 champions with decent gear should be able to clear the Brutal stages without too much of a problem. You're going to want one champion as your campaign farmer, and the other 3 champions you're going to want as your food champions. Now, the way that experience works is it's all shared among all 4 of your champions. So what's going to happen here is we have 4 champions, and each one of them is going to get 25% of the experience. So technically 25% of the experience going to my main champion here. He's max level, so it's going to go to waste. But the other 75% is not going to go to waste, and it's going to go to my food champions to level those up. And even if my food champions die, it doesn't have an impact on the amount of experience that I end up getting. This is why it's really important to not do something like this, which is definitely a mistake that I do end up seeing some newer players make, is they will have one max level champion and then one non-max level champion. The reason why you don't want to do this is that same principle of experience being shared is applied. So now we have 2 champions, and we're going to split our experience among these 2 champions. So this guy is going to get 50% of the experience, but my max level 60 champion, who doesn't benefit from experience at all anymore, is going to get the other 50% of the experience. So now, instead of just 25% of the experience going to waste here, if we do it like this, then half of the experience, or 50%, is going to end up going to waste. So you definitely always want to optimize the experience that you get from campaign farming by using one max level farmer and then 3 non-max level food champions. So strategy 1 is going to be working from the very bottom of the barrel and ranking up your common champions up to 2 stars. Now remember, you only actually need to level up one of them. You definitely do not want to end up doing this, and I'll just show you guys as an example right here. So we have our ranked up 1-star common champion to level 10. Doesn't really take too long to get common champions to level 10, so that's a good sign. Only takes a couple of runs of Brutal, maybe throw in a normal stage because they only need a little bit of extra experience. And you do not want to do this, right? So we need 2 total champions in order to get our 2-star. We have our main champion right here, and then we have our food champion. We don't want to use a max level champion. Those levels are just going to end up going to waste. What you want to do is you want to end up using a close to level 1 champion like this, and that is going to take our sister militant to 2 stars. And of course, as you do rank up champions in Raid Shadow Legends, they are unfortunately going to go back to level 1. This game is definitely a grind. Just thought I would throw that out there to those of you guys who are still newer. Ranking up food champions, all that is definitely going to be a very big grind aspect of the game. So same thing for 2-star champions. Now we have our 2-star champion right here. If we go back to this chart, the total number of champions that we need to get a 3-star is 3 2-stars. But remember, again, one of those champions is going to be the primary champion that we are going to be upgrading. So this level 20 Incubus is going to be one of those 3 champions. And then we need 2 more actual food champions, which we want to be level 1 or as close to level 1 as possible. So again, we don't want to do this because those levels are just going to end up going to waste. We don't get any benefit from that. We want to use any combination of 2 other champions. It doesn't matter whether they're common. It doesn't matter whether they're uncommon. It just however you want to do it, you want to be as efficient as you can and not let those levels go to waste. So that's one strategy. The other strategy is as you accumulate more and more of these mystery shards, then what you can actually do is you can kind of skip that first step. And now instead of actually leveling up the commons, you can skip right to the uncommons because you're going to have so many mystery shards that you really aren't going to actually need to level up all the commons. You're just going to have so many extras that you could skip and start leveling up the uncommons. Save yourself a good amount of energy and just throw the commons and use them as actual experience. So when you end up getting further into the game and you have a bunch of extra mystery shards, what you can do is start leveling up the 2 stars right here, and then the 1 stars that you have, you could just actually use them as experience. Yes, that's kind of a little bit of a waste. Not really. I mean, if you have a bunch of mystery shards and you're just going to be overflowing with these commons anyway, might as well save yourself the energy and end up skipping this first step. So that's that. Now, a couple of tips that I did want to end up sharing with you guys is obviously, this is a really, really big grindy aspect of the game. It costs thousands and thousands of energy in order to rank up enough champions in order to end up getting a 6-star. However, there's a lot of events in Raid Shadow Legends that will specifically revolve around training your champions, ranking up food, leveling up champions, ranking them up, all sorts of stuff related to that. So you can end up waiting to do most of your ranking up and food farming for those events. Or what you can do as well is you can kind of combine 2 things and save your champions and save space and not rank up champions until one of these events comes around. Now, of course, champion space in Raid Shadow Legends is very limited. This is not going to be very reasonable for people who have a whole bunch of space in their vault that's already full of a billion champions. But if you guys are running the campaign anyway, if there's not a champion training event going on, what you can do is you can try to keep as many champions as you can at max level so that when the events do come around, you can then end up ranking them up, getting some points, and making the events a little bit easier. So this is just another way that you can end up preparing as a free player or somebody who doesn't spend a lot of money to get some points towards those events so that you don't have to have as many energy or you don't have to use as many refills in order to accomplish them. Now, is this another reason why Plarium keeps vault space pretty limited in Raid Shadow Legends? It very well could be a possibility. You could put on the tinfoil hats and the conspiracy theories, but that is an option available to you if you do have the space. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention is the actual market. Now, you will see, obviously, the market has mystery shards in it. Definitely buy those up for 5,000 silver each. That is a good deal, so you should be checking your market anytime you can. But you're also going to notice champions in the market as well. You'll see commons for 6, 8, or 10,000 silver, and then you will see uncommons or 2 stars for 39, 44, or 49,000 silver. Now, in comparison to the mystery shard, that's definitely expensive. At first glance, it doesn't seem worth it, but as you are a more intermediate or advanced player, what you can end up doing is you can actually end up buying some of the champions in the market and using those as food. Even though they are more expensive, what that's going to let you do is it's actually going to let you stockpile more of your mystery shards, so you don't have to actually pull these for food, so that you can end up actually saving your mystery shard summons to get a bunch of points complete for when certain summoning events come out, like the Summon Rush or the Champion Chase tournaments. Now, of course, this is kind of more intermediate advanced player min-maxing, but that option is there. It's really only going to be a good option if you do have a bunch of extra silver. If you are low on silver, I would not recommend buying the champions in the market because they are going to be a lot more expensive than just what would normally be buying the mystery shards. So thought I would throw those little tips in there for those of you guys who are a little bit more intermediate advanced. Maybe you already knew some of the stuff that I told you guys earlier in this video. But with that being said, I have thrown a lot of info, especially towards newer players, thrown a lot of stuff at you guys in this video, so I'm going to leave it here. I might end up doing a part 2 or expanding upon this in the future, but for the time being, thank you guys everyone for watching. Really hoping that you guys enjoyed this video and that it did help out. And if you guys did enjoy this video and you want more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, we are getting really close to 20,000, so thank you so much, everyone. If you enjoyed the video and you want to help support as well, taking a quick quarter of a second to toss a like really means a lot. And if you guys are interested in more Raid Shadow Legends videos, guides, tutorials, and all that fun stuff, they should be popping up on the screen right about now, so feel free to check them out. But if not, until next time, have a great day, everyone. And this is Salt of the Salty Guild, signing out.